It is the Sports Fix here on Flow FM, and it's time for us now to welcome back the man in the know when it comes to River Murray football. Hang on a minute, is that actually true? I'm not entirely sure. The Phillips brothers, we've got one absolutely dominating the AFL tipping out there. He cannot stop talking about it. The Flow man, he is 150 odd on the planet or something like that. Ask him, he'll tell you. And yet, his brother joins us on the line right now, Big Brucey, who could not pick a dirty nose in River Murray football right now. How are you, Brucey?
How are you, Jay? Thanks for the intro. And, I'm not going that well in the AFL. Last week, I backed the ones I thought would win and they lost. And then I took, a couple of roughies that might have a chance. Well, they were useless. And I finished up with 1 out of 9. So I've chucked the pen at the computer. I've chucked the piece of foam at the computer.
Toys
I've
around
given
the
up.
cot.
Yeah, given up just about. The Flow man, well, what did he get on the weekend? I think it was about 7 or 8 again.
Oh, stop counting.
Inside 100, I think he said, Jay.
He cheats, mate. We've talked about this. He tells everyone else who to pick and then picks the opposite. He's a cheater.
Yeah, certainly is. But I'm not sure how the tips went last week in River Murray, but...
Not good for you, mate.
It was. I haven't got the tape, but I'm sure you have. But,
I've listened back. Don't worry.
I think I went for Tailem Bend, and let's have a look at that game. Jervois absolutely stitched up the Eagles, and look, it's a very good, handy side, that Jervois side, and they've had a couple of inclusions into that side from when I initially picked where the teams would sit at the start of the season, and we're talking about guys like Dylan Barry, who's just come off of the season in the NT, lives up there, and they tell me he's flying in every week. So, that's a fair effort for the lad. And then they picked up another guy who you might be able to fill me in, know more about him, Josiah Farrar. And they tell me he is a pretty handy player as well. So those two inclusions have really tipped my tips upside down in River Murray, and those two were very instrumental last week, where Jervois ran out winners 20-13 to Tailem Bend 9-9. And look, that is a shock result for a lot of punters out there, not just me. Let's have a look at the best players. Well, as we said, Dylan Barry, Mackenzie Hanson, Tate Silverlock, Zane Barry, and Ben Hanson. Hey, what about that? The Hanson show up against their old club. That's pretty much rubbed some salt into the wounds, hasn't it?
Certainly has, mate. They'd be smarting about that, the Eagles, but gee whiz, they just weren't in the hunt. That looks more like a premiership defence, Bruce.
Oh, it certainly does. I've shifted them from third to top, as you would. And let's have a look at Tailem Bend's better players. Fisher in the ruck, Joseph Rack all over the place, mainly down back. Keelan White. Good game for him heading back to Tailem Bend this year from Imperials. And Riley Smelt and Stephen Clay was outstanding with 5 goals. He was the multiple goal scorer with Connor Smelt, a couple for the winners. Well, they had plenty of goal scorers, Jervois. Dylan Barry kicked 5, Josh Scott kicked 3, and quite a few twos. Raymond Love, Josiah Farrar can find the goals as well. The big ruckman, Tony Gibson, even kicked a couple. And Seth Catford, a young up-and-comer out of Ramblers, second season, I think, out at Jervois. And so they have plenty of avenues to goal. And, look, they have given Tailem Bend a fair old stitch-up. And right now, I think it's fair to say, Jason, the Bloods, they've got one hand on the cup.
Oh, look out, he's gone early again for the second time. We'll see what happens. It's a long season, but the spicy cough might have a bit to say about a few things, including what goes on in River Murray football. But Meningie, they suffered no such issue. This is the one you got right, Bruce, but none of us saw this margin coming. We thought Maipalonga had improved a bit, but Meningie, the Bears, absolutely walloped them. And, a favourite son returning to Bear Park, kicked 10.
Well, he just had the claws out, didn't he, down there, and caught everything that come his way. And Brodie Martin, of course, the former Adelaide Crow, he's been at Strath for a couple of seasons. And what a handy pickup, and smashed home 10 big goals. And I can join him in that feat down there. I just thought I'd let you know, Jason, that have kicked 10 myself down there at Meningie. And that is a great performance. Not that this is about me, but that just come to the mind.
Fairly sure I've kicked 10 before too, Bruce. In a game, I'm fairly sure I had 10 kicks once, but
Was it after a couple of frothies?
None of them went through the big sticks. But that's not beside the point. My apologies.
But so the interesting thing in this one was the selection of the best players, where Brodie Martin with 10 majors, as you can often see this happen, only picked second best. Adam Terrell, another one of their imports this year, along with Brad Thompson, he was named third, Martin second. And I don't know a lot about, know a little bit, Jack Dalgleish. And of course, you might be familiar with this if I tell you where he's from Borough. So,
yes, yeah,
you're right onto that. So, very handy pickup for Meningie, playing his first game last week. And, of course, the Rock of Gibraltar, Peter Reichelt, fifth best. For the losers, Michael Longer, well, it was their handy recruit from the Eagles reserves, Stephen Mills, named their best. And, of course, favourite son out there, Jack Klusky, returning from Glenelg this year. Second, Kelvin Smith, who will have to be pretty careful playing football because Kelvin is a very handy cricketer and just won a grade cricket grand final a couple of weeks ago. So he was named third best. So very talented family and from a very talented father. Regan Gotch named fourth, and Declan Fritchie, a young lad coming through the ranks, named in their best five players. Goal kickers for Meningie, as we said, Martin with 10. Sanders backed him up with 4. And Jai Hode, another good young tall lad coming through, kicked a couple. Whilst for the multiples, for the MyPo side, this is where they fell down. They just had Stephen Mills with 4 and some singles. So a great game by Mills. And look, centre forward or up forward, full forward, he's a very handy find for MyPo. But yeah, as you said at the start, the margin was the big shock where Meningie ran out winners by 87 points.
Yeah, cop that. Imperials, they wasted no time in dispatching Ramblers who, after a promising start to the season, appear to be back where we thought they might be at the start of it. The Blues showed no mercy, 20 goals 8 to 3 goals 7. They were far too good, Bruce.
Oh, look, they absolutely poleaxed them, didn't they? And showed no mercy. There wasn't too many chooks that were able to get a hand on the footy.
Scrambled eggs, Bruce, is what they were at the end of it.
Yeah, couldn't get a hand on the footy, and that is a sensational result for Imperials. As you said, 28-3-7. Looking at their best players, they named Harley Montgomery on ball, Clint Demont on ball, Mitchell Leanett, just like a rubber man, just can go anywhere and very versatile up from the B's, had a good couple of games there and back into the A grade. Johnny Boris, well, probably could have been a little bit higher with 9 goals, outstanding, and Daniel Girdham starting to notch up a few games at Imperials, now one of their imports a few years ago. Looking at the better players for Ramblers, well, they were hard to find in the chook shed. Alfie Golan is having a great season. Probably thought his A-grade days were done and dusted, but he has really rekindled and he's going very nicely at the minute for the Ramblers. And one of their imports, Ethan Cornish, and good to see, son of a gun, Max Machete, only a young lad, I think still available for under-18s, named third best. Goal kickers for the Blues, as we said, Boris smashed through 9, Montgomery on ball with 3, and that's very handy when you've got your on-baller kicking 3 goals. Might have been some manning up issues there, eh? And the rest, Aidan Morell at centre-half forward with a couple and some singles. Whilst for Ramblers, as you can imagine, just the 3 goals kicked and all singles. But the sad part out of this game was an injury to, I think it was Tyson Baker. So all the best in his recovery. But yeah, Imperials, way too good and really have set up a top 3 finish, I think, from here.
Looks that way. They'll be there and thereabouts again. We take a break for Easter, Bruce. These guys now have had, 3 cracks at it. They'll have a spell and then they'll return in the lead up to Anzac Day. That's right, isn't it?
That is correct. And you'd probably say from here on, Jervois, Imperials, and they're certainly looking standouts. And you'd probably throw in there at the moment, well, I think the big surprise is Meningie sitting second on the premiership table. So Let's have a quick look at the state leaderboard for the goal kicking around South Australia with 10 leagues playing. It is Tarka from the Great Southern on 13, with Howson from the Barossa Light and Gawler on 13. Johnny Boris with that 9 on Saturday moves to 12, with Edwards from the York Peninsula on 12. Dowdy out of the Mid-South East on 11. Bornholm from the Southern Football League with 10. Hines out of Hills Division 1 with 8. And Kane from the Western Border on 7. And Brad Dorr from the Hills Country on 6. And Michael, I think it is, Crittenden from the Great Flinders on 5. So that's a leader from each league in the state leading goal kickers there, Jace.
Good stuff, Bruce. Well, mate, you have a great Easter. In fact, I won't do the signing off because we've got to get you back later in the week to do Speedway. But to everyone in River Murray football, you guys have a great Easter. We'll be back to talk more about you in the week ahead. But Bruce, look forward to catching up with you to talk Speedway later in the week.
There's some big games coming up in that next round too. Did you want to mention them? We'll just have a quick look at those games coming up for the Easter round, and it is going to be a very interesting round. Manham hosting Meningie. That is going to be a blockbuster. Ramblers host Jervois. Well, that looks like Jervois will again give the Chooks a fair old rumbling. And Imperials hosting Tailem Bend. So a couple of big games to see where clubs are at in the Easter in the Anzac round. So after Easter, so Manham and Meningie and Imps and Tailem. So some big games coming up, and that should sort them out in round 1.
It should, mate. Good on you, Bruce. We will catch up with you later in the week.
Thanks, mate. See you then.